Hey everybody, Slug Jones. Gonna do a graphical performance test here for the game The Hunter Call of the Wild. The system we're on is a computer I built a few years back and just recently upgraded practically for this game. I have an older in-law that's a hunter, and he saw me playing this game. I picked it up even though I'm not really a hunter. And he said, you know what, I think I want to play that video game. So I told him, you could get it on console, but I could probably do a little bit cheaper if you just let me upgrade your computer that I built for a few years ago for you. And so I did a pretty good job. I've got an i3-4130 in here, 3.4 gigahertz, 2-core, 4-thread, of course, and it's a Haswell 2013. It did have a Pentium, is what I originally had in there, which was fine for what he was doing, Facebook, email, shit like that. But yeah, we got the 4130. It's a good little chip. I got it for 40 bucks, I think, locally on Craigslist, 30 or 40. We upgraded. He didn't have any graphics card in it, so we went with a 1050 by Gigabyte, and it's a good card. If it's the same card, if you Google it, it's going to come up with the orange accents. I think it's the only one they make. I could be wrong, but if you Google it, I just Googled it. It's the one that first comes up on Amazon. You'll see it. It's got little orange outlines on it. It's a good card. I bought it off Reddit on the hardware swap. For $85. I don't know how many people I should tell about that, because there's some good deals if you stay vigilant. You can get some good deals on there. And it was in near mint condition, too. It was amazing. Had a really good experience on hardware swap. Anyway, we also have 6 gigs of DDR3 1333 megahertz RAM. That's what he already had in there. So I found a deal on a 2 gig stick. I think I paid 20 bucks. Got a pretty good deal on it, and I figured 6 would put him over the threshold for most games on minimum. And again, he's not a big gamer, so that works. And then he's got a Crucial SSD for what that's worth. And BioStar motherboard, the H81, I think. So I think I just killed that deer. How about that? Was a good shot. I got to give myself that. Now, as far as the graphics, as you can see, low presets is going to be about 60 frames a second. You can lock the VSync and have a pretty good experience. See, it's dropping to 57, 58. Now, when you look through the scope, you do lose about 5 to 10 frames per second on any preset for whatever reason. So you got to keep that in mind. Let's see. That looks like the Gigabyte 1050 is about maxed out on low all the way through high, of course, using about 1.7 gigabytes of RAM, of VRAM on there. This is medium preset. This is probably the minimum. Low is kind of ugly. Medium is a pretty good step up, in my opinion. We're not using any more VRAM here. GPU's maxing out about on usage. Staying relatively cool, though. It's a good product. The i3 is doing well, hitting 60 to 80% usage. Staying pretty cool as well. Same temp, too. Around 60 Celsius. And RAM, we're not. I think that's the RAM that the system's using, and maybe a page file or something that's where it says 4100 and 6600 there. I forgot what that is. I'm guessing that's what that is, but yeah. So it plays great. We're hitting about 50. I think it drops here to about 40 in the 40s. I believe the medium preset stays. And as you can see, you do drop frames. And if we get closer to the trees over there, of course, it's having to work a little bit harder. So you'll see the frame rate drop. Now I tried to cut out a lot of the stuff that you really didn't need to see. These clips were of course longer. But for the sake of brevity, I wanted to voice cracked. I wanted to get on through the video and get, as long as you get an idea. I know when I'm looking at videos, trying to decide whether my rig will play it or if I upgrade to this CPU, will it work? I just kind of want to see. So for that reason, I'll put links to each preset in there so you can skip through the video to the preset you would probably want to play on, or skip along through the video quicker than what I did here with the editing. As you can see, you get into the wooded areas here. You lose some FPS And when you aim through the scope, you're going to lose again about 5 to 10 frames per second, depending on what you're looking at. And we're going to move to the high presets here. Let's see what happens to our VRAM. On the 2 gigs is getting on the bottom end of acceptable. I really think the 1050 Ti and the 1050 could have probably done with 4 gigs. But they only gave the 1050 Ti the 4 gigs of VRAM. Alright, so there's the evidence that it's on high. And now we got better shadows and everything. Looking pretty good here. Now, if I remember correctly, I guess we'll see. But if I remember correctly, we're going to be about 30 frames a second here. Maybe a little bit over, but that's what we want. So, of course, that's the minimum anybody want to play on is 30 frames a second. In a game like this, you can get away with that. There's not a lot of fast-paced action. This isn't a Twitch shooter. It's simulation of hunting, and hunting is slow and monotonous a lot of times. And the animals don't move too fast until you shoot at them, and then they run, and then it's kind of hard to shoot at them at 30 frames a second or 60, to be honest. Because I've tried many times over. Okay, so we got high. I got my spray out there. There's my gun. There's my binoculars. I don't know what the shit I'm doing. I can't. There we go. I think I killed this one too. I may miss them. Doesn't matter. But anyway, we're setting at 99% usage. Again, pretty much it's working as hard as it can. VRAMs went up a little bit, using about 100 more megs of RAM, VRAM. CPU is working less. It's working a little bit less. It's working about 50%. So, yeah. So it's been relieved of a little bit of duty here as we went higher. For whatever reason, it seems like at least. And as you can see, the frame rate staying about 30, 35. You get into the woods here, you get right at 30. And then you'll see as I look through the scope, it drops. So it dropped only about 5 that time. It wasn't too bad. Little 5 frame rate drop. Now Ultra is pretty well unplayed. I mean, you can play on Ultra. Like it was in the 20s, but it's god awful. I hate it. But it's playable. I know a lot of people really don't give a shit. As long as it's not a complete slideshow, they can play it. So, game looks great on Ultra. It really does. Let's see what all the numbers look like once it zooms in here.
Everyone calls me Doc. I'm the warden up here, and I know just about every nook and cranny of this place. I heard this is your first time in the Pacific Northwest and Lake District. Well, this here's the best.
Still in the 30 frame range, and it drops as we get closer to the ground since it has to render stuff. A little bit higher detail. There we go. There we go. Alright, so of course GPU's maxed out. VRAM's still staying around 1800.
Let's see what you can do. Try to find an animal track around here.
And the CPU's having to work even less. So we're seeing a shift away from processor to the GPU slowly. Well, not solely, but so about 26 frames per second when you're kind of out in the openish area, 24. There's a quick cut. Let's go to the woods over here, a little bit of wooded area. So technically it's playable on Ultra. And I'm thinking your bottleneck obviously is going to be your 1050 here. It just can't keep up too well. So that is it. About 25, 24 frames a second. There's a little message I did. I wasn't sure if I was going to put audio on here. There you go. Thanks for watching. I'll have more in the coming future. Bye-bye.